Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. I'm your host, Therese Tucker, and I am excited for this energy. And I'm going to get into that with you in just a second. Before I forget, because I know I was going to, I am doing a live channeling session on Insight Timer on Friday, September 13th at 11:44 a.m. Pacific time, and I'm inviting you to join me. It is a free event. It is happening on the Insight Timer app. So you do need the app, but the app is free and the events are free. Yes, there is an option to sign up. And of course, the app is going to prompt you to do that. But if you don't want to sign up, you don't have to. You can still join that event. And I'm really excited. So the link is below. And I look forward to sharing a live channeling with you from the Arcturian Council about whatever's going on currently at the time. They always have something to say. And I just want to make sure you know you're invited. All right, so I'm excited about the energy coming up. And I say that trepidatiously only because we're on the verge of our next eclipse season. So the next full moon, which is happening in Pisces on Tuesday, September 17th, it is a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. Eclipses are talking about an opportunity to jump forward and create a change. And when we're looking at it in the sign of Pisces, there's a note there because of Pisces that this is a spiritual change, something spiritually changing in nature. And I think that's exciting. I think that's something that we can look forward to. Also, it's talking about a resolution from the last eclipses that we had. So usually eclipses, they're 6 months apart. So looking back 6 months from today, what in your life seems different? What has shifted for you? That is something to pay attention to and note because you're about to shift again. And that brings me to the message from the team, which is why I have a little of excitement here because they're talking about a turning point. And specifically, we're moving up a level again. And so this is a great opportunity for us to realize that one, we're always evolving, but two, no matter what things look like, no matter how things are going, there's always the opportunity for things to improve and move up. And specifically, the changes that they were talking about is life's natural progression. There's something about the work that you've done that is building on itself. So nothing you're doing is being taken for granted, especially on the spiritual level. And it kind of reminds me of last week's talk because we talked about that plateau of latent potential. Everything that you're doing, even if it feels like it isn't moving, is counting. It all counts, even when you can't see how much it counts. It counts. And they're talking about a turning point and in a new direction. And of course, it always comes with instructions for how we can lean into this turning point. And one of the things it talked about, the team was talking about, was the things that are bogging us down. Again, when we are taking on what isn't ours, that can become heavy and almost like a quicksand. It starts pulling you down. They are pointing out that negative experiences are drawn to us when we don't give ourselves the time to get out of that sort of emotional mire of taking on too much. We need to give ourselves the space and time to see what's weighing us down so that we can shift our perspective. And as soon as we do, there's a turning point. And that's the thing that they're letting us know, that snowball effect, that thing where you can finally see your momentum. This is coming. We've got to move some stuff out of the way first. And we got to acknowledge where we're stuck, where we're feeling stuck energetically. And man, that message resonated for me. I definitely have felt this year that there are places where I got stuck. The beautiful thing is I also have had the time to look at it. First you feel it, and then you have to look at it. And then once you're looking at it, this is when the healing starts to happen. Because again, perceptions can change. One of my own patterns that I really got to see it but first I had to experience it, was when things feel hard for me, I tend to isolate. It's just an old pattern of behavior that's developed over time. I hold a lot of space for people, and I've sort of trained myself through my own past experiences, through the trauma and the programming that I've personally been through, that when things get hard for me, that I need to just cave, right? I need to go into my cocoon. I need to isolate so that I can take care of it. And then I can come back out and take care of other people. The problem with doing that is you got a lot of time alone with your ego, and your ego definitely has its own agenda. It wants to be in control. And when your ego's in control, and especially an ego like mine likes to tear me down. So it starts giving me information that without the support around me to help keep the perspective clear, you can start believing it, right? When you start isolating and then your ego is telling you that nobody cares and nobody's checking in on you because nobody wants to, you start to believe that. And then thank God for the work that I do with my team. Thank God for the spiritual practices I have, because of course my higher self was also able to step in and say, are you giving anybody the opportunity to help you? If you're isolating, if you're holding on to so much for yourself, and you're not telling anyone, are you giving them the chance to be there for you? And this is that perspective shift, right? That I needed to see it and go, oh my God, here's the pattern. And this is part of what keeps me feeling heavy and bogged down. And it gave me the opportunity to see it, to work through it, and to break the cycle, which again allows things to start moving forward. So I share that personal bit with you just so that you can also see where you are either taking on something that isn't yours to hold. Like, for example, if you tend to be a problem solver or a helper type of person, are you trying to solve other people's problems? Because in this time period when what we're all supposed to be doing our clearing work so we can move up to the next level, if you're trying to take on other people's problems to solve, one, that's a futile task because you're not allowed to. So it's just kind of busy work for you that doesn't actually lead to anything. Two, it starts to feel heavier for you because it's like you're trying to carry everybody's backpack with your backpack. And three, it opens you up to people who don't want to take responsibility for their own lessons. And so therefore, when things don't work and you're trying to help them solve it, they immediately can project and blame you for why it doesn't work. And so these are things that can drag you down, make you feel like you're in the quicksand. Another way that this could be affecting you is that there's just a lot of emotions coming up, a lot of stuff from the past, again, can't come with us as we're moving higher, and you're going to move higher. So these things have to come up. So again, the heaviness of our emotions, like feeling bogged down or weighed down again under this intense emotional energy, that could be affecting you as well. And these are just a few ways that we can have this sort of waterlogged energy that makes us feel like we're never going to move. And the answer to this is to ask yourself, why am I still holding it? First of all, is to start questioning. That's always the route I recommend when identifying the issues that are keeping you feeling heavy or stuck, is to start questioning, how is that true? Is that like I did with my own experience where my ego was like, nobody cares, nobody wants to help you. And thankfully I started questioning that and go, well, how do you know that's true? Do you know? Is that typically what you experience with people when you actually reach out for help, is that they don't want to help you? And my ego couldn't answer that because the answer was no. That's not typically what I experience. And so it helped to break that illusion. So we need to start questioning it. When we start questioning it, we give ourselves the opportunity to change our perspective. And maybe before you can get to the questioning, you have to break a pattern. And this is where my brain at least tends to go, but I'm trying to break this this emotional pattern. I don't know how. And the pattern in this case that the team is recommending we break is our routine. Shake it up. Do something different. If you typically are a person who sleeps in, get up early. If you're a person who typically gets up early, maybe stay in bed, right? Like do something in your daily pattern that causes a pattern disruption, because as soon as things aren't happening in a typical fashion, it's like you break out of a trance and you're suddenly awake because now you're not as comfortable, right? You can go on cognitive autopilot when you're in a routine that you're just doing the same every day. And if you find that those heavy emotions are not shifting or moving, or you can't seem to see a different perspective, then it's time to shake up that routine and approach your day in a contrary way to help you snap out of the trance. And snapping out of the trance usually does something for you. It is a perspective shift because now things aren't as you're expecting them to be. Now you're having to stay more conscious and tend with things as they're coming up. And I love this approach. It has a cleansing effect on our mind. And that's the energy that we need right now. We need something to sort of clear the vision because we are moving up. There is a turning point that we're approaching very soon. And we have a natural ability to sort of lean into it and let things shift. And I'm telling you, my team is like, they shift for the better. They feel more stable. They feel more solid. It feels like the natural progression you're waiting for. It feels like you're moving off of that plateau of latent potential and the ball starts moving forward and you feel it. So the gift this week is notice where you feel stuck. Try to do something different in your day. If you already have the awareness about what's going on, you can use the routine shift to help you. But then I would say just move into start questioning it. You know, if you're aware of the heavy emotion and the overwhelming feeling and you're cognizant that there is a shift that needs to be made, start questioning, how do I shift this? What do I need to do to shift? What is my belief that's creating this feeling? If you're not there yet, shift your routine. Do something out of the blue that snaps you out of a trance and gets you to be more present in your day. And with that, let's look at this week's karma cards. All right, if you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks of cards: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what's the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers: a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel what is the guidance you need this week. Maybe you're looking for the actions to take, or maybe you're more interested in how things resolve over the next 7 days. And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for September 11th through September 18th. And the flavor of this reading, we've got the North Node. So interesting, because remember I said turning point. Well, the North Node alludes to somewhere you are going, where you desire to go, the direction you feel destined to move in. So it represents the future. And then we have the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the future and the sign of our current age, the age of Aquarius. So again, there's a lot of forward thinking, forward momentum in the 3rd house. Now, the 3rd house is ruled by Mercury. It's the house of communication and expression. But because it's ruled by Mercury, there's also a type of learning or understanding. There's a mental process going on here. So a mental process around the future, the turning point. For those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to have faith in your vision by making the right connections. So I keep hearing the turning point, the snowball, moving off of that plateau where things feel like they're just not moving forward. They are. That's the turning point. Suddenly it goes from a place of feeling stagnant or stuck to a place of forward momentum. That's what's coming. There's your vision. Have faith that that happens for you in whatever way you're looking at it. Wherever you're feeling stuck, you will be unstuck and start moving forward. Making the right connections has everything to do with the perception we're holding, right? So again, going back to my personal example, deciding my old perception was no one wants to help. The correct perception in my case is nobody knows that you need help because you won't tell them. I had to make that right connection to get out of my slump, right? As soon as I realized it's not that people aren't concerned, it's that you're hiding. How can they help you if you won't come out of your little hidey hole? As soon as I start coming out, there's everybody waiting. So that's what we need to do. Make the right connection. If you're holding other people's stuff and you're frustrated, they're upset with you because their life isn't getting better, ask yourself, why is that my responsibility? Why did I take that on? And recognize that from a soul level, that's sort of a little bit disrespectful to the soul. Not that you meant to be, only that our souls are quite powerful and quite capable. And so whatever's in our life is in our life partly because our soul chose it. So if our soul is choosing it, our soul wants the individual choosing it to go through it. So when you start realizing that, I'm actually getting in the way of your soul work, and you realize that I need to step out of this, then you've shifted your perspective. Mental action at this time. Do not worry about what is new and different about the idea in question. Don't worry about the perspective shift. Don't worry about breaking your routine, right? So whatever you need to do to get out of the quagmire, that's the goal this week. Get out, get unstuck. Don't worry about what that looks like. Be inspired by it. Like I said, make it super simple. Right? If you go to bed really late, go to bed really early. I wouldn't necessarily say go to bed really late if you go to bed early, but maybe do something different at your bedtime than you normally do, right? Have something other than your typical routine. It might spark something in your dreams as you're sleeping, showing you the answer. Whatever it is, don't worry about do I have to stay out of my routine forever? Nope. You just need to do it until you get the aha, right? Until you get that perspective switch. And I find that the routine shakeup helps it happen pretty quickly. So it's not that I'm saying abandon your routine. Just shift it. Just shift it a little bit and see what happens. Physical outcome at this time. Now is the time to use an unconventional way and get your ideas going. I couldn't even finish it because I was so excited, because there it is, right? That's what we're talking about. Break the routine, break the log jam, snap yourself out of the daily trance that we all find ourselves in, and get the information you need to get yourself out. It's actually going to be, I feel, pretty easy to do it. There's a lot of energy that's sort of pushing you to do it anyway. So this is just here's the fast track, change it up. And then suddenly it's like the light bulb turns on. All right, now let's look at outcomes for the North Node in Aquarius in the third house of communication. Spiritual outcome at this time. There will be genius to experiment with your ideas. Yeah, like I said, I feel like this goes really quick. It's not a long process, and I do not think that you have to be uncomfortable for great periods of time. In fact, I think it's actually going to be quite enjoyable. It's going to be the breath of fresh air you've been waiting for, or the rain you've been waiting for, or the movement you've been waiting for. It's going to bring you exactly that gust of life that you need to light you back up. Mental outcome at this time. Success from the discoveries of short-term thinking and trips. Exactly. So I feel like they're just kind of repeating it. It's going to work. There's a turning point, and it's really good. I'm so excited to bring you happy news, because I feel like for the past few weeks, it's been about work. Like, here's the work, do your work. There is work to be done here, but there's a fast acting formula that really just lights you back up and gets you back on the road. So this is a beautiful message, and the turning point is great. It's a positive, it's a forward, it's stable, it feels good, it feels like things start working. And that's not, I don't know, typically something we hear around eclipses, but this one has a different energy. At least that's what I'm getting from my team. And I'm really excited to hear what the Arcturians add to it, because there's something really inspiring about the energy that's coming through during this window. And finally, physical outcome at this time: benefit resulting from the eccentricity of who and what is around you. Again, because if we shake up our routine, we snap out of the trance and we see maybe this more subtle signs and opportunities that are right in front of us. Maybe it's the day that you follow a soul thread and end up meeting a person who has information you need, or that a video that one of your friends sends you that normally you'd be like, oh, I'll watch that later. You let yourself watch it and it's got information that leads you to something you needed. Something comes in and it comes in quick. This is great. And it's not really requiring from us heavy lifting. We've been doing heavy lifting. This is kind of like, they're showing me like raking up leaves, the fall leaves, right? And you've been working in that yard all day and you've got these big piles of leaves, and this is like the last thing you need to rake in to finish the job or successfully complete the task. So what I'm getting this week is there's a lot of joy. You should have a heart full of anticipation for good things. It is coming in. And the key is to snap yourself out of a funk. Wherever you feel stuck, do something different. Just do something different so that new information can unlock. Yes, you're going to have to shift your perspective. You can't keep holding the perspective. Once you get the key, you have to unlock it, go through the door, and shift. But what I get is there's a lot of grace and ease around doing this. It seems like you'll be ready to make that shift. And so with that, I'm so excited. I'm so happy for us. And I'm sending you so much love. Mwah.